Hey, good morning everybody, BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Well, it's like 6 in the morning and I'm going to be honest with everybody. I'm not certain, but I think that might have been the hardest night I've ever had to live through. Last night, my whole night, the whole dream was me tossing and turning in anxiety. Pure and utter anxiety. The dreams, all of it. It was absolutely torturous. I don't think I've ever felt like anything like that in my life. I've had panic attacks as a child. They weren't as bad as I had last night in my dream. And I'm waking up out of this dream talking to y'all. First of all, my mother was in that dream and I was screaming my head off at her, trying to get her to understand my illness and trying to get her to understand how anxious I feel about what I'm going through right now. Anxiety that I feel. I can't seem to figure out if I want to be on this cover or not because it's hot under here, but I feel like I'm speaking too loud over there. But either way, anxiety that I felt in certain instances, but never have I been attacked like I was attacked last night. I want to tell y'all that I really think something big is coming in my life, because when the enemy attacks you this hard, God is doing something. God is doing something. I'm telling y'all, man, I don't think I've ever felt anxiety like I felt in my dream as I'm waking up out of it. Nothing even close, y'all. Nothing even close. So from the beginning of the dream, I could tell y'all that, first of all, I felt something last night pull my pillow out from under my head. And I heard like childish laughter. So I know some spirits or something like that was trying to get me to be anxious about living with people, with someone, essentially telling me more or less that I had reason to be fearful, or rather anxious about living with someone. And from the rest of the night, it was me turning back and forth, worrying about one thing after another in regards to what has to happen at the end of this week. I was trying to tell myself everything I could to try to cope with it, but it just kept hitting me. I kept turning left, right, all night long. And essentially, I was just going back and forth trying to find places to just stay, because I was telling myself that it's going to be hard for me to get down to where I need to go today. And at some point in time, my mother started showing up in the dream, and everywhere we went, I was just screaming at her about how my mental illness was bad and how I wanted help for it. And you know, I don't know why I was screaming so hard, but at the top of my lungs, we found ourselves inside some type of sushi restaurant, and I'm just screaming. I don't remember the words that are coming out of my mouth, but I was screaming not only at her, but everybody in the restaurant, just telling them that I have such deep chronic anxiety and I can't overcome it. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. And things like that. It was like so very intense and so very painful. And my mother was like deadpan about it. She was like, well, you know, sort of like I described when I was a child. Why don't you just type energy? Why don't you just do this? Or I don't know what you want me to do type. I don't know. It was worse than anything I'd ever experienced in regards to her. She had never done like that in real life. Not when I'm in some type of pain or anything, but I'm just screaming. And I kept telling myself, like, I may not be able to take all my things with me because I wasn't strong enough to get in the Uber program, so now I can't drive down there. And I don't know where I'm going today, which is where I actually have to go. I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know if I want to live with nobody, and I don't feel like I have any options, and I'm running out of time, and I feel like I'm going to be homeless, and all these different things that I was telling her in the dream. And I kept waking up every 2 minutes, tossing and turning. And as I would wake up out of the dream, I would still see it's dark. I'm like, okay, I could try to go back to sleep. And I start praying a little bit, and Lord would tell me to relax. But I'm telling y'all, man, all throughout that dream, I was screaming up and down the street in absolute agony that I've never felt in my life. I felt in that dream absolute hell, man. Absolutely difficult stuff. And so I finally, I found myself at the end of the night, like trying to calm down at the end of the dream. We were at some type of Laker function. It was almost like we were waiting for the countdown to the start of the season or something. And I turned to some dude I was looking at, and he said, "How you doing, bro?" I was like, "Difficult times, man. Real difficult times." And I just looked away, and then I woke up out of the dream. I remember certain parts of the dream where me and my mother was walking through a movie theater, and I was screaming, and then I snapped out of it for half a second. I said, "Yo, Mom, I don't want to talk about this. There's more things I want to talk to you about. There's other stuff going on. I can't just be talking to you about this. Did you see the 2020 championship? I started asking her if she saw Dylan Brooks and how he was acting. I just wanted to change the subject because I realized I was wigging out the whole time, and my mother was right next to me. And of course she's going away, so it's like, I know I'm asleep, I know I'm tripping, I know I'm being attacked at this point. Is there anything else we could talk about? Anything? And I just remember the dream skipping off to that sushi spot. Like it was as if, nah, there's nothing else to talk about. You still got to be in this space. I found myself over there by the old Lennox place, the homeless shelter. Just kind of skipped over there somehow. And I was walking down the street thinking, man, is there any way I can find somewhere to stay? I looked at my phone and I was trying to look up sublets, different things like what did Brunzi had sent me, links and stuff like that. And I realized that I couldn't bring myself to look up anything. Sort of like how I feel in real life, but like 3,000 times harder to kind of deal with. And I was just sitting there saying, I can't even look nothing up. I can't do nothing. And I just said, man, I want to get out of here. As in exit the life. And I was like, Mommy, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I told her, I was like, Mom, you're going to see me soon. I can't do this. I ain't going to do this. And she kind of just looked at me and just looked away like deadpan. I'm like, yo, this is all evil, man. This ain't normal. I am ill with anxiety, and it is chronic, but it is not nearly as bad as it was in that dream. And as I wake up this morning, I don't feel nearly as bad as I did in that dream. Granted, I'm concerned about all the things that I said I was concerned about, but I just the same throw stuff away, just, like I did when I left the first place. If for some reason I couldn't bring something, I just leave it, throw it away. But it wasn't like that in my dream. It was like all of the worst of the energy I've ever felt in my life, all of the anxieties I've been telling y'all about, they all came and hit me at once in my dream. And I know it's because I'm anticipating the unknown, and I know that I'm in this situation and it's unprecedented, and I know that I had been telling y'all different things about wanting to quit if I get hit this hard, and I also know that I've been exemplary in regards to keeping my spirit clear. So that's basically more or less what I'm telling you, is that the enemy hasn't been able to get to me in ways that he normally would, and I think he tried to get at me in a different way last night and attack me in my sleep. By way of my fears and by way of all the different things we've been talking about. And of course, the fact that I'm not smoking weed, as I tell you guys often, my dreams are more vivid because when I smoke, I don't get dreams. So all of that combined just made for me having the worst nightmare that I may have ever had, man. It might have been the worst nightmare I ever had. And the one person that comforts me the most in my life, as I told y'all, my mother was like, in comparison to red, which makes me anxious, blue. She was the bluest of all blues. Last night, it was like she didn't have anything for me. All the things that would make me comforted by her, it was like, nah, she wasn't my mother. She was just the form of my mother, but it was really someone else in there who didn't know me and could care less. And I remember seeing some random lady. She was very pretty. I don't know, I was attracted to her, whatever. And I ended up walking away from my mom and trying to talk to her about these problems. And she asked me if I was rich or something. And I was like, of course not. And at that point, I kind of said, all right, thank you. And then I kind of walked away from her. Kind of all right, I know that she can't help me either. This is probably the enemy trying to lure me in as I'm feeling this way. So what's up? I'm telling y'all, man. It wasn't even about what was going on in the dream. It was about what I was feeling in that dream. Everything around me was fine. The streets was fine. I wasn't being chased by nothing or anything like that, but it was just the anxiety and the sadness and the frustration and the fear that I have going on in my life right now. It just heightened all the way to a maximum that I've never felt. And I can tell you right now, I'm not nearly as afraid right now as I was in that dream. I ain't nearly as anxious as, you know what I'm saying? I'm really not. As bad as my circumstances are, and I do feel some anxiousness, it's like when I woke up, it came back down to where it actually is. But in that dream, y'all, if I lived like that in my head, I really wouldn't be able to keep going. Like, that's how torturous that was. And I just think it felt like all of the different anxieties that I've been avoiding by doing things the wrong way, all the different times I put things off, all the different times I told y'all that I felt anxiousness at any given point in my life, it felt like all of it came into my dream last night and attacked me at once. A combination of every anxious moment I ever avoided all came and hit me at the same time. That's what it felt like. And it lasted a long time. It felt like the dream just kept going. That feeling just kept going. It would not stop. And I woke up in prayer. I woke as I said I was going to do. When I feel like this is exactly what I did. But I couldn't seem to bring myself to do that in a dream. When I woke up this morning and, the first thing I said is, Lord, I don't care how anxious I feel, man. I am not that tormented of a spirit. I'm not. Ain't nothing in this life made me feel like that. Not even the anxiousness that I felt when I was going through things that I feel like that. The only time I probably ever felt that much anxiety was probably when I was 2 years old. When Connie was doing whatever she does, probably the only time I felt like that. Like that? I don't even know if that was like this. This was awful, y'all. I'm telling y'all, man. This was awful. Because what I was feeling was not only the anxiety, but the emptiness of not being comforted. And the emptiness of knowing that the things that I was anxious about are real in my real life. Being conscious of that. And then just understanding it's like, in that dream, it was almost as if the Lord had never given me a blessing, had never given me any confirmation that things are okay, as if I had never seen the light of any kind in my life. It was like a godless fear that just consumed my entire being and lasted for as long as possible. It was probably some version of hell, man. Probably some version of hell, just a taste of it, That's exactly what I felt. And as I'm waking up out of that dream, I don't feel like that at all. I'm just sitting here like, bro, that was traumatic. I feel like I came out of a traumatic experience, and I'm thankful that I woke up from it. That's exactly how that feels. And I told God, I'm like, listen, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to South LA today. And then I felt the Spirit of the Lord just kind of give me the thumbs up, like I always tell y'all when things are going to be fine. That's exactly what came to mind, or rather came to my spirit in prayer as I'm waking up out of that dream. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get through what I got to get through if any remnant of that is going to be a part of this process. You know what I mean? Like, I got to win this battle for sure, because if I ever get attacked like that, I might not even make it up out of that dang dream. That's how I felt. When I tell y'all, Lord, you can take me in my sleep. Nah, not if it's going to be in that form. No, wake me up out of that. You understand what I'm saying? So I just want to let people know, I don't know what this is. I really don't know if I'm getting worse, or if that's really the feeling that I have about what I'm going to be dealing with, or if that's what this does. But I have way more faith than I was able to express in that dream, and that was an attack, man. If ever I had ever had my spirit just hit with a barrage of bad energy, it was that. I ain't had no real life experiences feel like that I can recall. And I ain't never had no dreams like that I can recall. I went through the loss of my mother, my father. I went through heartbreaks. I ain't never felt like that. This was worse than all of those, maybe combined, man. The enemy threw everything at me last night. Everything. I honestly think he was trying to kill me for real. I really do. Because at one point my heart was beating so fast as I was screaming at my mother, telling her to just understand what I'm going through. And she was just telling me, well, why don't you just throw stuff away? If you can't keep it, throw it away. And I was just, and I felt my heart beat. Not in the dream, but in real life. Like, it was going. I'm like, yo, this is ridiculous, man. This is some bull crap. Like, I don't know what the hell this is. Ain't nothing I've lived through make me feel like this. Nothing. And so I just woke up, and the first thing I said after feeling my fingers like do that thumbs up was, Lord, anybody who going through that, anybody who has anxiety like that, man, I think I can relate to something I've never been able to relate to before. When you have an anxiety attack that is as intense as like that, it's a new experience, man. Real new. So for those who are living in torment in your mind, I got a very small taste of what that actually is, man. I have a much higher respect for that type of anxiety. Ain't nothing like this ever happened to me, man. I'm not tormented to that degree. So, I just want people to know, like, I don't know what type of day I'm going to have. The Lord already gave me the thumbs up, so I know to trust that. I have every intention of doing what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? I really do. And I feel like fighting that. Now, I don't know what that was, but I definitely feel like fighting that. That ain't even nothing normal, bro. Nothing normal. So I just, the first thing I do in situations like this, of course, is turn on the camera. And I was asking the Lord, like, this is, I prayed about that. And he was like, yeah, just let them know. That's, And I want to also let y'all know that my mother is not cold. She was never like that, man. Not like that. There was no part of me that feels angry toward her in regards to what I'm going through or nothing like that. I don't blame her for this or nothing. And I think a part of me in the dream said that too. It was like, no, this is not your fault, or no, I don't know, but yeah, man. I don't know what to say. Some of that stuff still feel like it's on my spirit right now. Some of that energy is still on me right now, and I'm just like, I know there may not be many solutions to what I have, and I know there may be some difficulties ahead based on what's not known. And I know I've identified as somebody who has anxiety, chronic anxiety, but this is a different thing that I'm feeling right now. Waking up in the morning, having a dream like that, I really don't know what to say. Or in regards to, am I getting worse? Is that a sign of what I should expect from my mind as I grow older? Or was that an attack? And the Lord is telling me something great's about to come into my life? Is the Lord telling me not to go to West LA or South LA, whatever? I don't know what that was, yo. I really don't. But I can tell you I ain't never felt like that before. Not in my adult life, and probably not even in my childhood. I had anxiety attacks, and I told y'all about that when I was about 7, 8 years old. And when I remember I went into the principal's office, and I told y'all that I was anxious and crying and wigging out, telling the principal or whoever it was that was in the office that I think something had happened to my mother, and I don't know why, but I need to know she's okay. Can we call her? And wigging out, tears flying out of my face like I had been given bad news. I honestly think the anxiety that I felt at that moment wasn't as bad as I just went through. I remember how anxious I felt. But this just seemed like it was turned up even more, as if, okay, you're a grown man, so we got to turn it up even higher. I'm serious. So the anxiety I felt as a child paled in comparison to the anxiety I'm waking up out of. And as I say that out loud, I almost feel like I'm lying. That's how weird that is. It almost feels like, nah, I did not know. But it felt like it. It felt like it for real, man. But, I feel stronger just the same. It's like I got a defense for that in a different way now. I wake up praying. I wake up with my phone in my hand talking to y'all. I know I'm talking to whoever's listening. You know what I mean? And I didn't have that outlet back then, man. But I want people to know I love myself. I love my God. I love the strength that he's trying to give me going through this. And the enemy, I know I've been doing damage, man. I know I've been doing damage. I've been talking different into this forum, trying to get people to see, disarming the enemy. And just like I always say, if you gonna hit the enemy, he gonna hit you too. He gonna swing at you. Be ready for what comes with that. And that's a good thing, because that means you're doing God's work. But there will be some things you have to take on the chin, and the Lord will heal your wounds. And I think that's what it is. I'm hoping what He will do right now. It's like, I feel like I should go down to West LA just to defy that energy. You know what I mean? That's what I think. I feel like I should just face that fear just to defy this. Like, there is anxiety hit me like that when I'm already a bit anxious about what I got going on, and then I just get hit, boom, with anxiety. It's almost like my ego wants to like swing back, like, hell nah, what we talking about? That's exactly how I feel right now. Rather than waking up in fear, I wake up feeling like my ego was ruptured. It's a strange feeling, because I couldn't embrace my mother. You know what I mean? I couldn't. I was looking at her like she was somebody who had done something to me, screaming at her like she was to blame for my problems. And everything that she had suggested was supposed to be rejected, as if like there was no way I could throw away things, or no way I could live through this. That's how, it was like, yo, I am not that weak. I'm not that weak. A lot of things I've gone through in my life that I survived. I am not that weak. That's how I honestly feel, man. So I just want to tell you, I rebuked that feeling in the name of Jesus. And whatever it was that was trying to defeat me last night, you didn't win. You didn't win. And if my head is trying to become worse or more sick, I can accept that. But what I will not do is tell myself that there was any validity at all to that. Because I honestly don't think it is. Not like, no. That was the type of fear that you feared when you didn't have anywhere to sleep that night. And I'm waking up out of my bed with still 6 nights of somewhere to sleep, and leads to find somewhere to live. And the ability to wake up with a healthy body, a sound mind, people that are listening to me, wanting me to succeed and praying for me, people that love me and reached out to me and helped me with a promise to help me as long as I need to. There is no real reason for that type of anxiety. If my family had told me no, if my friends all disappeared on me, if I didn't have this place, then maybe I could say there was any validity to that energy. But honestly, that energy made me feel like I had never been helped before, and that there was never going to be any promise of any support ever again. That's the devil that I was dealing with, waking up out of that dream, y'all. And that as if I was going to be going to prison for the rest of my life type stuff. Like, that's what was attacking me last night. As if I was going to be walking into the worst type of circumstance that I could ever experience, and that this was the fear required. That's what it felt like. So I just want to let people know, I really don't know how that's going to affect my day, man. I really don't know. So I feel like I went through a war, a spiritual war last night within my own skull about my own problems. And like I said, I know that there's some validity to my anxiety. I know that I have depression and anxiety, and I know it might be some other things attached to it as well. But as I also told you guys, I'm in one of the most comfortable places I've ever spent time in. This room embraced me and made me feel great. So there's no reason for me to have had the worst night I ever had in this place. But that is exactly what I'm waking up out of, man. The worst dream I ever had. And it simply started with something feeling like it pulled my pillow out from under my head, even though it really didn't. Nothing like that actually happened. And then from there it was boom. The most anxious moments of my existence thus far. And so that's why I'm like, I'm almost laughing at it, really. It's a part of me that's sitting there like, wow, that enemy really, really wants me. And it's one of those situations where it's like, I was telling myself last night after listening to all the videos that I made and the carousel energy that came with my day, and I was thinking to myself, you know, you really are going to say some things that are going to help some people. You did some things today that if the right people get a hold of it, they're going to really be able to, they're going to be okay in circumstances where it may not even have been a path to them being okay. They're going to be they were suggested some things in those videos you made last night
when I was telling people about shelters that they could go to in one of the random videos, and I was telling people to whatever the different things that I said and read that helped me understand my own head, and just various videos that I made last, like essentially what the Lord was telling me is that you really did some damage yesterday. You did some damage. And so as I went to sleep, I know that was the enemy hitting back. I know that wasn't a self-manifested anxiety or a natural reaction to what it is that's coming. No, that was an absolute barrage of beatings that the enemy wanted me to feel. He wanted me to feel all of the pain that I'd been referring to at once. And so that's what it is. It's one of them situations where it's like, man, I don't really know exactly what to feel as I get up this morning and then go try to attempt to get down to West LA. It's like 5-6 different buses, whatever I gotta do, you know what I mean? It is something that provides a bit of anxiety because I really don't know this side of town that well. And where I'm headed, I know pretty well, but from here it's like, all right, I don't really know this spot. I tried to map my way there, and it was like, all right, if I catch the wrong bus, I could be off somewhere else. And so it's that type of fear that was kind of brewing in the dream that kind of ballooned everything else. It was the idea that, once I get down there, maybe I'm gonna be in a situation where I'm dealing with some people I don't want to deal with, all these different things, and it just manifested into something so much more than it had to be, so much more than anything that's necessary, And I didn't feel like it was a warning. It didn't feel like, this is what you're going to feel if you go there, or this ain't going to work out and that's what's in your future. Nah, it felt more like this is an attack upon your spirit in response to the attacks that you've been giving the enemy, and you're really doing damage. And I remember now what I was trying to say that came to me yesterday as I was telling y'all that I think I did damage. God put it in my heart. He said that the enemy is terrified of BDF. He ain't gonna run from you, and he's going to try to hit you. And I let that thought go in one ear and out the other, but it came to me last night after I listened to all them videos, and some of the things I was saying was comforting myself, helping me understand different things, and it just hit me. And I felt like in saying that, I was like, nah, that's ridiculous. I'm exalting myself. It's not that serious. I ain't, you know what I mean? I'm not that dangerous to the enemy. But that's what came to my spirit. He said, he terrified of you, dog. Just like that, it was a spirit of an energy inside of me that I felt like it was a Holy Spirit telling me that the enemy that tortures all is terrified of you. He won't run from you, but you are doing damage to him that most just simply don't. In the way that you speak, in the way that you disarm his ways, in the way that you attack his subjects, and the various things that he does to keep his stuff in place. You are unique in a very different way than probably most of the people who've walked this earth. This is what the Lord was telling me last night. This is the energy that came to me last night. That he is terrified of you. You could actually do damage to him, like real damage to the way that he operates in this world. If everybody hears what you actually have to say, if everybody hears all the words that you've had to say, you're going to do damage to the enemy that most have never done, who've walked this earth. That's what God told me. That most who've walked this earth, you can hurt him harder than the most who've walked this earth. And I was like, nah, I'm exalting myself. That's bull crap. I'm not that serious. Ain't nothing I got to say gonna do nothing like that. You know what I mean? I kind of rejected it. Like, nah. And he was like, but with that, you need to understand he's not going to run from you. And I think that was my spirit preparing me for what just happened and whatever may happen after this. He ain't gonna run from you, but he is terrified of you. You are a fear of his that is very, very strong. And maybe, just maybe, I got a taste of the fear that he feels when I speak. That's what the energy of all of this is telling me. That last night, he projected his fear of you onto you. He wants you to know how you make him feel when you do the things you do and talking against his energies. When you talk about the people behind the curtain, when you talk about AMC, when you talk about not wanting to speak of death, when you talk about your own weaknesses and how you want to defeat the enemy inside versus the enemies out, inner demons having agreements with demons on the outside, all these different concepts that are in my mind, according to what it is that I felt after listening to videos last night, those are things that could really disarm a lot of the evil that he's kept going in this world for a long, long time, man. That's what the Spirit of God told me. Like, you could really do damage. He ain't gonna be able to move as freely in the ways that he's always been able to move if you actually convincing people of what it is that you see. And that's what came to me. It's like he gonna need to get rid of you, basically. That's what the Lord was trying to tell me in a very soft way. He ain't gonna run from you. But now you gotta understand that you were very much dangerous to him, so he's gonna do things that are probably gonna hit you differently now. And I should have heeded that and should have paid attention to that. So that is what I'm hearing. Now, I don't know if anybody gonna look at me and say, this dude crazy. Like, I tell you all the time, this is mental illness. And I tell you, I wasn't fully open to what it is that God was saying to me last night, if indeed that was the Lord. I wasn't fully open to that. But what I am telling you is, the way that I was attacked last night, it makes me think about that. It makes me think about that. The way these anxieties came, the way that the fact that what happened to me so early in life, as it pertains to, the trauma that initially started all this, it was supposed to stop me at the root. Just like I say about domino effects, if you stop it early, you're gonna affect so many different things. If you push a domino, it's gonna affect so much. I felt like he was trying to stop me at my root in regards to my purpose. And unfortunately for him, it hasn't worked, because here I am still doing some of the same things I would have did if he did not ultimately put Connie in my life at 2 years old to do what she did. And a lot of that was supposed to derail me from my purpose in helping people see what it is that I'm talking about, reaching people who may be reachable with the concepts I'm talking about. Telling people that they can be together in regards to their religion, even though you have different religions. If you're praying differently, all I'm gonna do is stand outside and pray for you my way, and we together can defeat the same enemy. Like, these are concepts that, if heard all over the world, could potentially bring people together that would never want to stop warring with one another. Concepts that need to be articulated in such a way to make people see the error in their ways that have been going on for generations and generations and generations. The Lord is essentially telling me my message is that for which can disarm the enemy almost entirely on this earth, if people just buy into what it is that I'm trying to convince them to buy into. And there will be many who do. And because of it, the enemy is terrified of me. And that is why I got hit so hard last night. Because one of the days in my life that I was meant to do the most damage, I lived it out and did exactly what the Lord wanted me to do. And that was yesterday. That was yesterday. And so that's what I feel like happened, man. This is one of the most important times in my life. This is one of the most important times in my life. I'm certain of that. And I told people this was my year. And I also told people that I thought a carousel energy was coming. And I also told people that yesterday was one of the most, if not the most, solidified examples of a carousel that I've ever felt. Because from the moment I woke up yesterday morning and the extreme anxiety I felt when I did that video, to the circumstances when things were getting better as things were coming into my life, and was able to pay off the hotel, and then get the phone call in regards to Karen Bass' office and get those leads. That was when it started to relax and things started to go up and feel better. And then hearing from Karen, that was like a real nice high for me, having a conversation with her and all of that. And throughout the course of that day, making those videos felt pretty good. And then at the end of the night, when I looked at my account, I started feeling anxiety last night and went back down. You know what I'm saying? And I made the video I made last night in that way. And then turned around and did a workout, you know what I mean? And had a nice meal after that. Went back up. And then when I went to sleep, went back down. You see what I'm saying? It was like that was a perfect example of the carousel that I felt was being relayed to me, right? So it just felt like this was one of those, if I put it like this. The Lord creates you to do certain things and certain days you live that are most monumental in your life. I felt like this era, this whole little what I'm going through right now is a very key point that he created me to exist for. This is one of them ones. Like, this is what he had in mind. You're going to do this week. September 2023 is going to be one of them key BDF existence moments. And I just feel like this was the enemy striking back at me as hard as he chose to, you know what I mean? Like, really hard. And so I wake up this morning kind of dazed, you know. That was a good hit. Nice hit, bro. That was a strong one. Yeah, I took that on the chin. And I also woke up feeling prayerful. That's prayerful. I was like, okay, no, I'm going to God with this. That's cool. You did what you did. It felt what it felt. I got my concerns. They are in place. That's cool. Got it. But what you need to understand is I now have defenses to that. I do have a prayer life. I do have this, that, and the third with all the things I talk about. I do. There is defenses for your attacks. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was. I woke up in prayer. Lord gave me the thumbs up. I don't know how confident I feel about the things I need to do today. I'm not sure. Honestly, I don't feel very good about those things coming off out of that dream. But the type of anxiety, if you want to know, like, to a level, if somebody were to ask you, okay, where was your level of anxiety when you were sleeping last night? Maximum. There's no level of number that would reach high enough for me to describe how that felt. Infinite. It was parts of that dream that I wondered if I would actually be able to wake up out of. That's how hard that was for me. And right now my anxiety's on like a 5. Like 5. So it's not nearly as hard as it is one would think waking up out of a dream like that. Not at all. And it's because I have this to talk, you guys to talk to. It's because I have the promise of prayer and how I've seen my faith be stronger than predicted than my doubt. It is because I've said so many prayers. It is because I have such strong, foundation of people that support me. It is because the Lord has shown me through his timing that he works. It is because I know I'm on the winning side. So whatever he hit me with, we can hit him with something much harder than that. And will. Whether it's my vessel or just something else the source wants to do, we gonna win the war is what I'm telling you. And I don't have to be the strongest hit that the Lord throws at the devil. I don't have to be exalted in what it is that I told you guys about, saying that the devil's afraid of me. I don't have to believe that to know that we're winning. You know, that's not something that I'm gonna hang my hat on or take pride in or nothing like that. That's nothing for me. I'm gonna continue to do what the Lord wants me to do, and I'm gonna be humble in the fact that this was a very difficult situation to go through. And I put myself through it by way of my mental health, but I don't blame myself for that. I think that my mental illness is something that can be helpful now. So I see it as a tool, not just a burden. Based on some of the conversations we had last night, I understand it a bit better, how I operate and why I operate in certain ways. Based on what I discovered in the video that I made Red, it's like, yeah, he can hit me as hard as I've ever been hit, but I'm stronger than I've ever been as well. It takes more. That's basically what it comes down to. It's going to take a hit like that to knock me, stagger me, you know what I'm saying? Because some of these anxieties, I know the root of them. I know why they're there. I'm not confused by them. I won't guilt trip myself like I always did. I got the habits in place that can keep me healthy so long as I can manage myself. And so it's just like, yo, I'm at a 5. If I didn't have these things, I'd be on a maximum waking up. I'd be waking up trying to figure out what, like, I'd be so damn, yo, I can't do nothing. I don't know what to do. Who knows what I would be saying? But honestly, all I'm really saying is, hey, that was pretty tough, man. That was pretty tough. And that's it, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to live with nobody, right? Let's just put that out there. But I also don't think that I know what's coming either. I think I've been through enough of these type of circumstances to know that whatever my doubt and my natural mind is telling me is it's not real. And as I told you guys last night, the only things that I ever look back on and regret in my life is when I didn't do right by others. All the different things that were ultimately traumatic, I had support for. So I know that that's a blueprint for handling whatever's next. It's a blueprint. There's never going to be a life that doesn't have struggles, as I told you guys. So I'm not expecting to have a soft life, even if the Lord wants to bless me with everything. You know what I mean? Everything I want. There's still going to be some things to worry about. Still going to be some things to have to pray about. Still going to have to be some things to overcome. So it's like I'm not anticipating a good life, even if I get other things that I want. Not to say good life, but just perfect life. You know, it's still going to be some things to deal with. So as I say all that, it's just, I just say, okay, the things that I'm most worried about right now, I'll just confess to you guys, the things I'm most worried about right now is getting there to West LA. The neighborhood itself and what type of elements I would probably have to deal with there. If for some reason that place isn't for me, the anxiety that comes with realizing I don't have nowhere else to go, with a countdown in front of me telling me I have to leave here in 6 days. Not really wanting to do some of the same things that I was willing to do when I left Lennox, like move to across the country. I don't really feel like doing that no more. Or doing Lyft. I don't really feel like doing that. You know what I mean? Things that I thought I wanted to do, or things that I thought were solutions, I feel like I'd rather not. At this point, my opinions about what I want for myself has changed, and I don't know why that is. There's no pinpoint on that. I feel comfortable in this space and don't like being uprooted from comfort. And I know that I have to be. These are, you know, I just tell the truth about how I'm feeling. You know, but like, that's what it is. That is about as far as it goes. I'd rather not live with nobody, but I'm thankful that there's somewhere to live. You know, somewhere that possibly could help me, and a bunch of things that could be there. And while I also feel it's difficult for me to look up solutions, and I'm frustrated by the fact that I haven't been looking for apartments, or I don't feel like, for whatever reason, I have any other options other than some of the ones that are offered by way of this. And it's like, that's not what I felt when I had 3 weeks to leave Lennox. I was looking for real apartments. And for whatever reason, I feel like I don't have the right to look for real apartments right now, which I know is a perversion of truth. Even though I found a bunch of scams when I was looking for apartments, I only talked to a few rental people and was only turned away by one credible one because of the level of debt that I have. So it's not like I'm devoid of opportunities to find actual apartments. I also realized that I gave up my bed. So if for some reason I do live in get an apartment, a real one, I will be on the floor. That is something that I'm anxious about for some reason or another. How I'm going to be able to get a bed right away. These are the things I'm really worried about. Some of the stuff that I may not be able to transport. If for some reason I can't afford to get a lift to get to wherever I'm going, or if I have to leave here without a destination for whatever reason, that is scary. And leaving stuff here that I don't want to leave here is scary. How I'm going to take care of the different things that I need to, showering, eating, and all of that stuff. Worried about if for some reason things don't work out. Having to talk to my family about my financial situation and why I'm not in the Lyft program. I don't know if they're going to really buy that. I think they're going to be disappointed. I'm worried about that, even though I'm not about myself, because I know why I did what I did, and I don't blame myself for it at all. And I think people who understand my mental illness would definitely not. And if I fully explain my mental illness to my family, I believe they get it, based on what we've already seen. How I let things get this bad at the beginning. Maybe they probably even predicted I might not use the money to do Lyft. Who knows? But the point is, I'm very disappointed that I wasn't able to follow through on that. And I'm anxious about doing it just the same. If I were to get in the Lyft, I'm anxious about that. Just to continue about things that I'm anxious about. I'm telling you, I'm leaving them all on the table so y'all can understand where all of my anxiety would probably be pointed at if for some reason those attacks last night were to manifest into my day. You know, getting lost on the train going to or back here. You know, these are things I'm worried about. That's really the gist of it. Not being able to do the things I love to do for whatever reason. Having to live with anybody at all other than myself because I'm so comfortable in this space. Anxiety, you know, more of the same. So those are my fears, man. That's it. I lay it on the line. That's it. All of those things combined may be able to get me to like a 12 anxiety, a 13 anxiety, you know what I'm saying? Nothing like I felt in my dream, yo. Nothing like I felt in my dream. That dream was hopeless. It didn't have any hope. It was torment. It was screaming to the top of my lungs at people that I love, my mother, least of all, the spirit of my mom. It was emptiness that came with how she was reacting to me that I didn't react well to. That's it. That's what it was, man. And I tell y'all, it's coming in waves. As I'm sitting here talking, some of the anxiety come back, then it leave real quick, come back. This is ridiculous. And so I just want people to know that who knows what this actually is. Maybe it's just a combination of me not being able to walk out of the red in this situation, as we talked about last night. If for some reason I'm not able to escape the red, you know what I mean? Not want to be defeatist. Speaking of life and things of that nature, that probably, telling y'all that I don't want to speak of death anymore like I did earlier this week. I think that's probably also something that the enemy probably punched me about. Like, yo, you got to keep on talking about leaving this earth. I want you out of here. Nah, we gonna disarm that too. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm doing that I think, is supposed to help myself and others. And I just think that last night, those inner demons, they all came just swinging. Like, maybe that's what it was. Them inner demons, they swung at me left and right. Every anxiety demon I ever tried to run from, they just all came at me like, boom, let's hit them. And the funny thing was, it's usually the hope that I allowed to hang my hat on, like, okay, AMC could squeeze it any minute, or my family's right there to help me, or somebody will open that door to me because I got such wonderful friends that are rooting for me and understand my mental illness. The fact that I do have the promise of GR and SSI so long as paperwork falls in place, for which some of that stuff got done yesterday, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. It's like all of these different things that are in my life that can make things a little better soon or later. It's almost like they weren't coming in that dream. It's like all of them were coming. You know what I mean? Everything that is the promise of goodness and the promise of circumstances being okay, all of it wasn't there. It was just left with the anxiety itself and the problems that could be and the anticipation of worse problems to come. And that's just not what I'm about. That is not what I've been speaking all these different episodes, all 520 something of these episodes. That is not what any of that was about. It was about the opposite of that. And so, God bless everybody watching me, man. If you're going through anything like that, if you go through mental torment, know that I got a taste of that, man. I got a taste of that, and I'm going to tell you to do exactly what it is I'm going to do. You pray that off you. You pray that off you. And you do not allow that energy inside of you to coerce you into guilt tripping yourself for any reason. It's okay to feel that. It's okay to wake up scared if that's what you got going on. It's okay to feel your problems if that's what they are, but do understand that you got defenses. You got defenses. You got things that you can throw back at that enemy. You don't have to succumb to that. The blueprint is all here for you. In all these videos that I've left, the blueprint on how to fight this is there. You pray. You do good from the inside out. You help others. You take those anxieties and you turn them into prayer for others. It's the only good thing anxiety's ever done for me, is bring me closer to God. That's it. Everything else is this. Worrying about every little thing that my brain can fathom. And you can take the moments that you feel like that and tell the Lord to come in, and then He will help you build the equity of spiritual strength necessary by making you not make it about yourself. Because for all of the different things I was feeling last night in those dreams, the one thing I didn't do is turn my attention to somebody else and say, how are you doing? You understand what I'm saying? I did not do that. I didn't ask my mom how she was feeling. I didn't ask that girl how she was feeling, whoever that was. I didn't turn to that dude I was talking to at the end of the night at the Laker place and ask him how he was doing. All of those anxieties centered the focus around myself. And that is why I was so much in pain, because I wasn't trying to help anyone else. And that's what Satan wants to do with your anxiety. He wants you to make it about you. He wants you to think that you can't be a solution to anybody. Like what the Lord is trying to coerce you toward can't make you a solution for somebody else. But you remember what we talked about. If you were going to live your life through, he can use you. He can put you somewhere so that you can do something that's going to fall into place for somebody else. And from there, domino effect of the same. And if you are removed from your situation, then guess what can be replaced there? Maybe someone else, maybe what you do doesn't get done. But if you're sitting back, paralyzed by your own anxieties and inner demons, trust you me, it's very difficult for you to be helpful to anyone else. And that is ultimately what we're going to need to do in our lives if we're of God. It's not about just you. It ain't just about how you're being attacked. We can turn those attacks into fathomizations of who else can be going through the same thing we're going through, and we become more useful to God when we start thinking about things other than ourselves. As long as we're allowing those attacks to come at us, solely at us, and make it all about us, and we're feeling all this weighing on our head, there's one thing that you forget. There's one thing you forget, that you can turn that energy into something else that will make you more helpful to others, even if it's nothing but becoming relatable to others. But because I had this type of dream, anybody that had a dream like that last night, I relate to. And because of it, I can pray for us all in that circumstance. Anybody who went through the worst of stuff I went through, I can pray for them. Because now I know what that feels like and respect it more. There's nothing in this life that the Lord can't use to make you better, man. There's nothing in this life the Lord can't use to make you better, ma'am. There is nothing. And so we just got to keep on remembering that one point of view as we get these anxieties that come our way, if we feel these self-centered, all about us type of attacks. What am I going to do with my things? What I'm going to do with my things? I'm going to do what I need to do with my things. The stuff that I can keep, I will keep. The things that I can't keep, I will move on from. There's nothing I'm attached to. I left so much back at that place I lived. My bed that I never wanted to give up on, towels and stuff that I was anxious about not having, I don't miss. I don't miss it. None of those things. I don't need none of them, man. You know what I'm saying? That attachment to that apartment, I felt like I couldn't leave. By the time I got out of there, I was happy to have been liberated from that place. I didn't need to be there. You know what I'm saying? So all these different things that the enemy can convince you to be fearful of before things change, once those things change, you realize how much that fear was useless. And as I come to you telling you I've been hit and attacked and my night was horrible and I felt like I was haunted by not only my own demons but some other type of, imp type energy that wanted me to feel uncomfortable about living with other people. At the end of the day, my faith is a stronger predictor than my doubt. And by way of what it is that we're talking about, we are doing damage to the enemy, and he's afraid of us. He's afraid of you changing. He's afraid of you thinking of somebody else when he's attacking you and making you feel like it's all about you. He's afraid of you realizing that your image, whoever you are, should not be something that others look at and say you're only the worst of the people that look like you. Or we are not going to be confused about the enemy trying to invest in the worst of us to make it look like the best of us don't exist and that we will never get the benefit of the doubt. He wants us to think all of us, all of our groups are the only groups that should be credible. He wants us to think that everybody outside of who it is that looks like us are evil or not to be trusted or don't have any good people there or whatever, or don't have any value, whatever these different things, all this energy that he wants to keep going so that he can continue to stay nestled in places to attack people like he attacked me last night or worse. But I'm telling you, we know better. We know better. And when we wake up out of these dreams that he attacks us in, or when we work our way through these circumstances that he attacks us with, we have absolutely no doubt that we have defenses and a purpose for which those attacks would be relevant. He ain't just hitting us like that because it's just a morning. He's hitting us like that because we are doing damage. You know what I'm saying? So if you went through what I went through, or you feel like, what the heck just happened to me, or maybe you had a night like that maybe some time ago, this video's for you. So I had the worst nightmare of my life, and I'm still waking up praising God, looking to him for the comfort, and looking to you guys to try to provide what it is that he gave me in that type of experience. So I'm going to lead us with a prayer because I think I definitely need one. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for waking me up this morning and waking everybody else up this morning, regardless of what it is that we're dealing with, the terrors of life or the triumphs of circumstances, regardless of our shoes. I ask that you walk with us in them because you know what's coming. And I ask that you bring good things our way. We speak of life this morning, Holy Spirit. Bless everybody who's waking up feeling good about themselves. May this energy meet them even more so to propel them to even higher heights, because good is what we are asking for ourselves. Those who are going through difficulties, Father, circumstances that only I can fathom in my dream, type of torment that I felt, I just ask that you provide them healing, Jesus. Healing, Lord. Healing for them, regardless of how they pray, regardless of what they believe. I ask that you wake them up out of whatever darkness they may be found. If they are working on the enemy's side, I ask that you help them hear what it is that you want them to hear from within what it is I say, or maybe from somewhere else, but may they get the message that ultimately turn their hearts around. May they know of more things that they need to consider in regards to their choices. I ask that you help people in different situations that I can't even think about, things that I do not relate to, but things that require that prayer, limited to nothing. People who are trying to find their way through their working situation. People who are worried about their children or trying to raise children and are doing their best, but it seems like things aren't working out. People who are displaced from their home, but they need a new place to stay and they have people with them, whatever the case may be. All of the homeless, Father, all of those who are going through unprecedented circumstances all over the world, natural disasters, dealing with bereavement, dealing with being lost, whatever the circumstance may be, Father, I ask that you step in. I ask that you step in for them. And I wake up with all of my different feelings going on, all the different things that make me feel like it's all about me. And I ask that you take that energy and help me understand just how helpful I can be to someone else. I ask that you work things out for people who have the same issues I got going on. Maybe they have to go across town from a place that they don't necessarily know, and they're worried about being lost when they get there, or worry about how things are going to be when they land there. Maybe they got something going on in their life right now that helps them, that kind of coerces them into thinking they've never had a blessing before. Make them test their faith. Maybe they lost somebody last night. They wake up in agony because of their bereavement, Father. Maybe they worried about something like that, even though it ain't like that. Maybe they have in their head based on their mental. Whatever the case may be, I just ask you step in, God. Whatever the circumstance, step in and make sure that you provide them not only what they need to heal from their circumstance, but so that they can be that of a healer for someone else, so that they can be inspired to make whatever changes necessary to feel better, be better, find the help that may be available to them, provide the help that they may be able to, open their hearts to listen to somebody differently, have a consideration that maybe they've never felt before, forgive themselves in ways that maybe they didn't think were possible, love themselves in ways that they never thought they could, disarm them from whatever it is that would otherwise make it so that that's not possible. Help people move forward in ways to overcome addictions. Maybe they got some type of addiction that they haven't been able to get a hold of. Maybe they got an anger issue and they did something and now everybody hates them about it. Maybe they can't even look themselves in the mirror, but you're going to disarm that enemy somehow, Father. You're going to give them a new day to do a new thing. And even though they may have to live with the consequences of their name not being what it's supposed to be, maybe they gotta sit down for something, whatever the case may be, Father. Maybe they hurt somebody they love and they ain't never going to be able to be seen by that person the same way again, but you can do things, miracle things, that I know are unprecedented in nature. You can change the whole world around in regards to their reputation. You can make it so that they do more good than bad going forward, and maybe the end, people will see them in a balanced way, Father, through you. I've seen you do miracles in regards to other people's lives. I've seen you turn people who've done horrible things into human beings that are helping others through those processes of being better. I've seen you turn criminals into motivators. I've seen you turn scammers into individuals that are volunteering doing work for others. I've seen you turn people's hearts around, people who've been through assaults and various different things, into people who heal and help people. I remember going to the place that I was right across the way from my old apartment and hearing the testimony of that individual who worked in there, who said he had been in the shelter system for 4 years, Father. I watched his face as he was looking back on what it is he was going through, had been through, and realized that he had come through that. I thank you because he is a testimony of what can be done, what is possible. And I ask that you not only do that for myself, getting me out of this situation, but helping others, anybody, everybody out of those circumstances so they can find their way through homelessness or addiction or a combination of both, and get to a space where they can be calm and have their own place and have their own circumstances be exactly the way they want it to be, Holy Spirit. I pray for whoever this random caller is and whatever their circumstance is that has them calling me, that I know that is nothing but a sales call, Father. I ask that you bless their spirit right now. And whatever innocence around them, I ask that you provide protection, Father. I ask that you take whoever has got a mental block. Maybe they're stuck trying to create something great, but they're going through writer's block right now. They're not feeling motivated right now. Maybe they're feeling empty and they've been feeling that way for a while and they can't get back to what it is that they do. Maybe they're in a space where it's almost time for them to retire from what it is they love to do, and they're dreading that, Father, because they don't want to leave the game. They don't want to leave the circumstance they're in. They don't want to sell their team. They don't want to walk away from their dream, whatever the case may be. You know what's coming. And the way they're anticipating what's coming does not have the blessings attached to it that you're going to allow them to survive and succeed through. Maybe they just went through a divorce, Holy Spirit. Maybe they went through something that was difficult in that marriage and they're trying to keep from going through a divorce, Father. Maybe they are in a space where the enemy has had a hold on them by way of different things that they don't want to tell nobody about. Maybe they habitual cheaters, habitual liars, and they keep on doing the same cycle. They're in a cycle that torments them, Father. I know you can break that cycle. I'm asking that you do. Whatever their circumstance is. Maybe they woke up this morning and they worried about a test they got to take in school, or they've been studying and now they're worried they're going to forget everything they learned in the moment. They crammed last night. Maybe they're in the midst of trying to figure out how they're going to overcome something that they've lost. Maybe they lost everything somehow. Maybe they went through a fire or some type of situation, Father. A natural disaster took something from them. Maybe Lord bless them. Maybe their kid is missing. Maybe somebody abducted somebody in their life. Maybe they have to live in that space that torment is really found when you don't know where your person is, or you think the worst, Father, but you have miracles attached to their circumstance. I can feel that there's miracles attached to their circumstance. Even if it ain't what they would necessarily know of, the Lord will make it so that there's miracles attached to their circumstances. That the thing that is meant to make them torment can turn them into being individuals that help others get through it. I've seen you do that, Father. I've seen you close cases that have been open for many years that people have been rotting away in jail for stuff that they did not do, Father. I know you're going to open them gates up and get them up out of there. I know you're going to liberate their minds until the time that is done. They don't have to stay in torment even though they're locked away, Father. You can make it so that they have a peace, that they're doing good things inside of that place, so that you keep the wolves off of them, so that they, as innocent individuals, don't have to suffer the ills of those who are criminals in that place, that you can turn that place into a place of peace for them, Father. I've seen you do things of this nature. But I do ask that you free them just the same, Father. Maybe they're guilty and they're rotting away. Maybe it's year 27 of a 100-year sentence, but they don't feel the same way they did. They've been tormented by this for too long. They learned their lesson a long time ago, Father. You can do miracles. And maybe they took something from somebody and they know they damned. They know they damned. They got to go to hell. They know that, but you are a miracle worker, God. You are a merciful one, God. And even those who are damned, you sent Jesus in to get them people out of hell after a certain time. You knew who changed. You know whose heart has turned around. You can help them turn their synopsis upside down so that they don't hate themselves in the presence of their suffering, so that they don't work in the favor of their enemy, so that they turn on him and stand and praise your name from whatever it is they believe in. Maybe they did some things before they found you. Maybe they were horrible human beings before they found you, and they found you, but they don't know if you're going to accept them, Father. You will. I know you will. You know all of our hearts, from the inner workings of what we suffer. You were with us. And at the time when I was being attacked last night, in my dream, you were with me. And because of that, I can tell them he will be with you. I immediately woke up and felt the Holy Spirit giving me the thumbs up. He will do the same for these individuals. I know you will. So I ask that you do. If they need prayer and lent to their circumstance, maybe they have some type of relationship they're in that's not quite going the right way. Maybe they feel like they're wasting their way in circumstances that are not meant for them. Maybe they have a job where the person that they work with just ain't getting along with them. They just want to be able to do the job without thinking about that type of stuff. Whatever the case may be, anything I can fathom, I ask that you attach yourself to and more. Whatever it is, Father, I ask that you be in their lives, Lord. Maybe they're looking for a church home. Maybe they found a belief, but they can't find the place of peace that they want to worship. Maybe they're looking for somewhere that'll help them find their best self. Maybe they're trying to figure out what religion is theirs, Father. Give them the peace that you want them to have. Align them with what it is that's supposed to be there. Maybe they're looking for something that can help heal them of a sickness that is rare or something. Maybe they got some type of disease, Father, that ain't no cure from. I ask that you bring forth the miracles necessary to assure that they have what they need and have breakthroughs found in what it is that they are fighting, what it is that they suffer through. Maybe they worried about their mom like I had circumstances in the past when my mother was sick, and they watching their family go through what they're going through. Maybe they worried about their kids in that regard. They unselfish in nature, and they're worried about how other people are going to worry about what they got going on, like Gilly did when he was talking about his son. I ask that you help them heal. Praise God for support systems that are coming, even for those who don't have any, those who are out in the dark sick, those who are laid out homeless without nowhere to go, who've been out there for so many years, Father. They asking for $1 today. I ask that you give them more than what they're asking for. Heal them, get them the resources, change the environment around so that what is meant for their dwelling in dirty can be found some cleanliness there, Father. Some peace there. Bring them a guardian angel that's going to get them out of them circumstances, Father. Give them the ability to find peace within those circumstances if that is within your will, Father. Make it so that they're stronger for their circumstances. Somebody wants to quit on life, Holy Spirit. I ask that you show them the good that you can do in their lives. Give them more years of goodness, Father. Make everything that they ultimately are afraid of turn into something that is going to make them happy. Turn it upside down, Father. Somebody's going to not jump. And because of it, their lives are going to be so much better than they anticipate, because their feelings that they feel are not real, Father. You can bring them what's real, Father. So I ask that you do so. Praise God. Let them know that what they are predicting, they need to apply faith to that. They need to apply optimism to that, because that is a much better predictor than the doubt that they feel and the pessimism that they feel, Father. Let them turn their heart around. Maybe they detract from people for no reason because of an energy inside of them that just doesn't want to get along with people. They don't know of anybody they can trust. They ain't never known of no good people, but that they can be a good person. That's what we are praying for, that they can be the good in the world that they hope to see. That is what we are praying for, God. That make it so that they can see the clarity that you have allowed me to see in regards to this prayer upon their lives, that they can turn it around, and that they should. Help people have substance, Father. There's many people out there who are entertaining us for reasons that don't exalt anybody other than themselves and the people who invest in the deterioration of others, Father. I ask you take those entertainers and help them see the light. Help them see the light, whatever the circumstance is. If what it is they're doing isn't right, if it reflects poorly upon themselves and their people, if what they have is only going to be temporary, if they're involved in different types of drugs that they can have access to because of the circumstances around them, Father, I ask that you make it so that they are healthy in their circumstances. If they need to heal, make it so that they're not killed by the drugs that they're taking, Father. Remove those drugs on the street that want to take us out, the suicide drugs like fentanyl and various different things, Father. I ask that you make it so that people who are taking that stuff just simply don't die. Just simply don't die. Maybe they're able to detox somehow. Maybe whatever it is they taking can make it so that it ain't even damning for them no more, Father. I ask that you extend the lives of people who are not expected to live long, people who are fighting in regards to their weight, people who have heart issues and lung issues because they've been smoking for so long, Father. I ask that you turn it around, extend some people's lives, get into the hospitals and make it so that the medication that they have to take works for them, Father. Make it so that somebody's surgery goes well, Father. Whatever is supposed to go awry, may it be fixed quickly so they can survive, Father. I ask for all different types of blessings, for all different types of things, because I felt like all of the world's ills came at me at once last night. I felt all the world's pain at one time last night, so I know what to pray for. And I pray toward you, regardless of what your name is, regardless of the ills that I've engaged in, the evils that I may have done in my life that would make it so that I deserve what, Father. I don't look to exalt myself, and I ask that you continue to give me the wisdom as well as others the wisdom to know how to make you happy and how to self-fulfill as well. Somebody feels like they're all alone, they got to do it by themselves. I ask that you step in and let them know they are not alone. You step in and walk in their shoes. You carry them, Father. You get them through this. Because I know that's what your intentions are anyway. You are an awesome God. And you don't want nobody to fight on the enemy's side. You're trying to win this war, and you are a winner, Lord. So I ask that you help all of your people, everyone, whether they know of themselves to be your person or not. If you intend to turn their lives around and ultimately make them triumphant, I ask that you let them be touched by this prayer, whether they can hear it or not. If they're meant to do anything good at all, I ask that you fuel what it is that they are meant to do by way of what it is my intentions are from within this prayer. Because the enemy did not make this all about me. He gave me the ability to pray for everyone, everywhere. And that is exactly what this prayer is for. I don't care if they're on, if I can think of what they can do or not, if I can fathom them existing or not, if they are far away from where I am or close. I do not have any reservations for who this prayer can touch, because I know you are an awesome God and there's nowhere you can't be. I ask you take what it is that would otherwise meant to haunt them and turn it into prayerful energy. Whatever it is that may be bad spirits in their midst, maybe they're in a place that has been dwelled, bad things have happened there. I ask that you take this prayer and permeate their place where they are right now with a new love. The same prayer that my mother prayed over everything I was at. The same prayers that ultimately was prayed before I walked into this room that made me feel comfortable to be here. I know they were prayed, Father. I ask that you let those same prayers that make the energy of this room good, make it so that wherever this voice is being heard can be just as good. I ask that whatever it is that you intend to do with the angels that you have, I ask that you make them be on guard for the people who are listening to this, especially those who are in torment, especially those who are hurting, especially those who most relate to the things that I've talked about. I ask that you stand guard, Father. You stand outside, you stand around, you bring your angels to surround that place so that the enemy knows that anything that we're praying for at this point has a defense. You can't go nowhere without running into the Lord's people. You can't go anywhere, Satan, without running into something that this prayer is supposed to touch. And we know how fearful you are, and you don't have any power here, not in my life and not in the lives of anyone that I'm praying for, which basically means everybody. I ask that you surround the entire solar system, Father, for as far as space goes. I ask that you put forth energy of peace, regardless of what people would think or pray or feel or not. I want you to be in every nook and cranny of every single spot, and I ask that you stay there on guard, because I know this is a war, and I know the enemy wants to take everything from you, but we will not allow him to, Lord. You are a winner, Father, and I ask that whatever it is in your heart that would otherwise make it so that you feel anger, Lord, whatever it is that would otherwise make you feel like people aren't considering you as they ask so much from you but don't lend enough to you, I ask that your spirit, your synopsis, what it is that you're taking back, makes it so that you have a good day, so that you have a great life, Lord. May I make you happy, not just for the betterment of my own mind. May we make you happy, not just for the betterment of our own circumstances, but because you are an awesome God and you take back so much pain. You are in a war and the enemy swinging at you 10 times harder than he's swinging at us. And you created him to love you, and he betrayed you for whatever reason. And I ask that you make it so that you heal from that. Because a happier you is a happier us, Lord. And I am here not only to fight the battles, but to also make your life better, Lord. And by way of the things I've done in disobedience and the way so that I've acted, I ask for forgiveness for my very own demons, for my very own mistreatments of whoever I have. In whatever way I did, Father, I internalize a sorrow for my own sins. For I know you take back so much from me. And for those who agree with that, Father, put that spirit in their heart so we can all turn toward you and make your life better. It ain't just about you giving us blessings. It's about us being a blessing to you as well. For you are an unselfish God, you are a loving God, you are a forgiving God, you are a graceful God, you are an honorable God, and because of that, we know that there's something that we owe you, and that is our love and appreciation. And for those who don't know that they owe that, Father, warm their hearts to know that this is not the same type of owe. It ain't like paying back a bill, it ain't like paying back somebody. It's more so like instilling love into our own hearts, because that's what we owe God, a self-love. A love for self, a love for others. That is how we most tribute you, Father. The things that make you most happy are the things that are ultimately going to fulfill us and make us most happy and whole. And I know this. We don't have to give anything away to make you happy. You are a source, and you find happiness in giving to us, because you are the most unselfish of us all. And I know that you exist. I may not know your name. I may not have it right. I may not always be in the right spirit. I may be getting attacked and might not be thinking of people when I do. But I know that when I wake up out of those spaces, you are right there to comfort. not only myself, but any and all humans, any and all living creatures, any and all people of any kind, of anywhere. You can be there and are. And with the faith of a mustard seed, we can overcome what it is that ultimately takes us to places that are not of God. But you are of God, and you can be in any of those places. So I ask that you turn the energy around. And Lord, I thank you for allowing me to find healing in prayer. And I ask that through the prayer that I'm praying, others find healing as well, whether they in circumstances that are considered the worst of things or just dealing with a little bit of irritation right now. Maybe they're just a little slightly just peeved about something. Maybe they just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Whatever the case may be, you are that solution. And through the love that you have for them, you will turn this around. Holy Spirit, I don't know what I may have forgotten, but I want to thank you that you allowed me to pray for so much. I want to thank you for the mind that you've given myself, and I ask that through what it is that I say, others are able to find what it is that I'm finding in me, a way to destroy the enemy from within and a way to attack the enemies that's out there. Holy Spirit, I thank you for allowing us to have the blessings that we have and the promise of blessings tomorrow. I thank you for what you're going to do in my own personal life as well as to the lives of the people that we speak of. I thank you for allowing me to have someone to speak to and have this prayer be about. And that someone is not only them, but that someone is you. A happier you is a happier us, and I'm thankful that I'm in a position to say this in trust. I love you, Lord, and I know that others love you too, and we're going to help you know how much we love you by winning these battles in our own lives and continuing to send up prayers not only toward ourselves but toward others. And I thank you for the obedience that you're going to place in my life that allows for me to help others, and I ask you to do the same for those who are listening in this spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for all that you do for us, and I ask that you win this war. I encourage you, Lord. You are a winner, God. You are a creator, God. So feel the appreciation that I have in my heart, and I know others agree with me when we say, Amen. My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.